So today we're going to look at how to use the benchtop SEM. Okay, so the first thing you'll do is figure out which sample holder you'd like to use. So the black one is going to be the high vacuum holder, and it's good for both backscattering detection and secondary electron. The gray one is going to be low vacuum, so it's only going to be used for backscattering detection. So today I'm going to use the black one, and then I'll show you quickly how to load a stub. So this is going to be the stub that we're going to use. It just looks like this. And then we're going to use some carbon tape. So this is black double-sided carbon tape. So we'll peel off a little piece. We'll smush it onto our stub holder. And then from there, you can kind of peel off the tape. If you want, you can also use tweezers for this step. And then it'll just look like that. And then whatever your sample is, you'll just kind of mount it onto it like this. And then this is kind of what other ones look like, just so you kind of see generally how they get mounted. So we're going to go ahead and use one of these. You can use these circle tweezers to pick up the small stubs. So we'll pick this guy up, and then we're going to stick him into this hole in the center right here to mount it. And just make sure you push it all the way down. And then once you do that, this piece here spins back and forth, and it essentially will just raise and lower kind of the wall on the outside. You just want to make sure that the wall is just higher than the top of your sample. So if your sample is sticking out a good amount, you want to raise the wall a lot more, but just until the wall is fully covering it, and just kind of double check by eye. And then your sample is good to go, and we'll stick it into the machine. Okay, so now we want to open up the SEM so we can put in our sample. So we'll raise this door straight up, and then it kind of goes in just like a credit card. So we'll hold this tab, and then we'll stick it straight in. And then you'll just kind of push it all the way back until it won't go in anymore. And then just be careful with this door. It can be hard to pull down, but just really make sure we don't slam it. So the last bit, just make sure it goes down gently. Because if you slam it, it can damage some of the interior. And now we'll switch over to the computer. Alright, so once you've loaded your SEM stub, you'll see this camera view. One of the first things we're going to do is we'll go to auto brightness. Okay. So yeah, you can adjust the brightness here on this bottom left corner, do contrast and brightness, and then just by scrolling up and down on the mouse, we can now see our grid a little bit better. This is a sample of just some silicon bits on a stub. And then there's two focuses. So there's, well, I guess right now there's fine focus, which is with the F. And then if you just scroll up and down on your mouse, you can gently try to focus on your sample. And then once it looks good, we'll open this right arrow over here. And then we'll click on this button, and that's just going to go ahead and take essentially like 4 images and create sort of a map. So once we switch into SEM mode, you can navigate to different points as needed. And once you've done that, we can go ahead and switch to SEM mode. So on the top left, we'll click on Move to SEM, and then it's just going to pull vacuum really quickly and load up our sample using the electron microscope. Alright, so once it loads it up in SEM mode, there's a few things you can do. If you click on this arrow sort of on the top, there's just a few different things you can change. So on the top part we have system, so if we want to change our acceleration voltage, we can here. Right now it's at 10. For beam intensity, there's a few different options. We should have mapping available soon, so that'll be there. And then there's the backscattering detector full, which is the one that we're on now. There's also the backscattering detector for topography. There's also the secondary electron detector, and you can also do a mix of both the backscattering and the secondary electron detector. For the scan size, you can adjust that as well. And then the live view is just like how quickly you're able to kind of move through the map and see things. So typically we want that a bit lower resolution, just so you can quickly move around. And then acquisition, that's going to be when you actually take images. So you'll notice if you go higher and higher, like it's going to be more time per image. So we usually recommend averaging high and then like 1920 by 1200. So it's 7 seconds for a photo, so really nice and fast. Another thing you'll want to do, so under settings on the top left, if we go to customize, this is where you can then choose your name of your file, so we can just say like test sample. And you'll also want to make sure you change the location, so this is where it's going to save to. So you want to go ahead and pick a folder that you want to dump all the photos in, and also you can select what image type. We usually recommend TIFF. So from here you can move around on the SEM screen and find something you like. Over here we have a few different things. So we have auto contrast brightness, so every so often you can click that to adjust the brightness and contrast. There's also autofocus. So that can be done as well to automatically focus. Typically we recommend manual focus. So under that mode, you can scroll up, scroll down, and then, from that mode, you can,
You scroll.
Oh, okay. Yes, you can scroll up and scroll down and then manually focus on your material. Another thing you can do is if you right click on this and click focus in a selected area, this rectangle will pull up. So you can focus on like one specific particle, scroll up and scroll down, get that into focus, and then when you click out, everything will adjust. And then that way you can focus on one specific object if that's something you're interested in doing. And then there's astigmation, but we're not going to touch that. If you need help with that, staff can help you with that. And then there's also rotation. On the right over here, if we click on this arrow, we can see kind of this map. So if you double click on a certain area, you can kind of move around your sample. If you like a certain position, you can add it as a location. And then if you were to scroll out of that area and you wanted to go back to it, you could do that. To take a photo over here, we'll click this camera button, and then in 7 seconds it'll take your photo. And then to view the photo, if we go back here again, we've got the gallery view. So in the gallery view, you can go back and then take a look at your images. There's also a position here, so if you want to go back to where you took a specific image, you can click on this button and it'll do that. And then up in the top right, we can go back to the live view. So once we've done all that, we're just about done with the SEM. So to unload your sample, we can click on this button, and it'll ask you to verify that you want to unload the sample. And last but not least, to sort of, we don't really power down this instrument, but we like to put it in standby mode. So if you click on settings, go to phenom, and then under status, we're going to click on standby. And that's going to go ahead and put it into standby mode. It's just a battery saving mode so that we don't waste our power, but we can still reactivate it pretty quickly. And that's about it. So now that we're done, we can go ahead and open this up. Just be sure to retrieve your sample and then gently close that door. And then to retrieve your sample, you'll just, you can lower it so it's just easy to grab, and then just use the tweezer and we'll go ahead and pull it out. The stubs you can keep reusing over and over, and then you can kind of scrape off the carbon tape or collect your sample however you like, and just dispose of it that way.